I've got listed here the top ways to grow an insane Facebook community. And I've done this several different times, several different ways. I've got a Facebook community that's 100% generic and free. And that group now currently right this second has over 56,000 people. But what's more impressive is the engagement there, because there's a lot of groups that have a ton of people, but there's no engagement. The engagement just keeps growing and growing and growing. There's lots of different things that I've done. I also have another group that has some of the very, very top earners. They have to be verified 6+ figure annual earners. And we have over 1,200 in that specific group. I'm not going to give you the name of it because I don't want every single person trying to add, but you can message me if you are one of those people and we'll get you added. So why are we talking about growing these groups? Because in many ways, this is your online culture. This is your social proof. This is a way to create better duplication, better sponsoring, better gamification. This is a way to have better communication. Now, I'm not saying that takes away from other ways, whether you're using text messaging or Telegram, or you're utilizing boards, or there's so many different applications and things that you can use. But I've got listed right here behind me all of these different things that I started writing down to help improve you creating your Facebook community to really crush Facebook groups. Because I feel like if there's anything that I've just done as well or better than anybody in the whole profession, that would be Facebook groups from a generic coaching standpoint. I feel very confident talking about Facebook groups. So I'm going to list off some of these things that I have right here of some simple strategies to improve your Facebook group. I time block. So if I go right now to my group, The Game of Networking, and I look in there, I have 57 posts already scheduled. So you're like, what? I hyper-focus. Anytime I see any content that could be relevant, I save that content in a special place, a folder. You can use a Google Drive. You can use Evernote, whatever you want to use to organize notes. And then I'll spend a specific time where I'm hyper-focused and I time block, and we'll spend hours mapping out all of that content when I'm in that zone. Now, I know other times you got things that just come to mind that are just spur of the moment that you put in there. That's great as well. The next thing is what I do is I create higher quality content for each specific group. So yes, sometimes you've got fun content. We'll go through that in a second, but I really focus on trying to dig deep. This helps me to find my voice to better articulate and communicate with people, but also helps separate why the group is so unique and why the group is so special. Other things you can do is you can create theme days. So you could have Motivational Monday. You could have Testimonial Tuesday, and depends on what type of group, right? You could have a group that's just specifically for customers. You could have another group that's for business builders, and you could have another group for people that are currently in your company that are team members. So you create theme days. You could do Wealth Wednesday. You could do Thankful Thursday. You could do something that's Fun Friday or Social Media Saturday. I'm just throwing out a bunch of themes, but this helps to create that culture as you go. The next recommendation are committees. So committees, people commit to what they create. So rather than you doing everything, create specific committees. You could have a committee that is in charge of recognition, and they create, all these ideas and they share them in a Google Doc. So if that committee changes over after 4, 5, 6 months, 8 months, whatever you decide, but people commit to what they create. And so I like to get the buy-in of other people. So it's not always just on me. And I feel like most of the time they have better ideas than I do. So create different committees. You could have a committee on random acts of kindness. You could have a committee that is all on doing the gamification and doing some sort of all-out challenge or blitz once a month or once a quarter or once a week. They do power hour or something like that as you go. So there's all different types of committees that you could create. You could have an events committee. You have, once a year, maybe a mastermind or something at conventions. You do something before. All different committees. Empower your team. Make sure it's not just all about you. Have different times where team members come in, even if that's just for 5 minutes and they share something, or you come on with them, or another leader comes on with them and they're just sharing their testimonial, because people need to hear the new stories. The old stories they don't always connect with. Most of the time they actually don't, because it's like, oh yeah, you're already here. They don't realize you're chapter 1 and that now you're at chapter 20. And so they kind of lose sight of truly connecting with you. The next part is yes, I talked about committees with recognition, but I challenge you to just become insanely good at recognition. Recognize the people that engage in your Facebook group, because engagement is the number one currency of Facebook groups. If you have a Facebook group that's really, really good and it only has 1 like on each post, is it really good? No. So the social proof of having that engagement is key. That is your currency for Facebook groups. So you want to encourage that. So we are what we recognize. And if you don't recognize the engagement from other people, then it's not important to you. If you don't recognize the random acts of kindness, it isn't important to you. If you don't recognize new people coming on your team, then it's not important to you. Now I get it. You may say, well, I've got too many new team members. My group's huge now. Create 1 post. And that post, you can just put in the comments, the new team members. So it's 1 dedicated post. Or do it once a week where you recognize every single new person that comes on. There's different ways. Just figure it out rather than saying you can't do it. But you are what you recognize. So, and we already know recognizing ranks. Sometimes it's people making their money back and there isn't a rank. And you create your own club. It could be the 200 club or whatever it is. Or people reaching out to their very first person. But I challenge you to get better and better and better at recognition. Recognition, men die for it, women cry for it. That's how important it is. The next thing, as you're doing this, and a couple things with recognition that I've gotten written out here is weekly spotlight, effort-based you can do, and you can create some sort of accountability. Of course, results, you can do it monthly, quarterly, annually. We already mentioned new members, of course, you can do. Other things that you can do, their first sign up, we said rank advancements, but all these things go into it. So I just want to challenge you as you go into your groups of just don't take them lightly as you go. They're a living organism in the sense that things are constantly shifting and moving. You may have every single Monday, motivational Monday, where you get on for 30 minutes with team members and now you don't have as many people on it. So now maybe you realize I got to do it 20 minutes or I got to mix up with the different speakers right as I do it. Or now maybe you got to create an incentive for whoever the most engaged people are inside the Facebook group, get a special group chat. And those 10 people are part of the group chat for the month and they get special access to you, right? You've got to figure out unique ways to really double and triple down on your Facebook groups to create that engagement, to make your groups better because they are that important to you. They will make a huge difference. Successful people just do the basics better. Sometimes we get away from the basics and we go for the huge, grandiose, massive strategies and plans, and those are fun as well. But we got to always go back to the basics and say, how can I do the basics better? And those are some of the basics that you can do to improve your Facebook groups, which will improve your community, your culture, your retention, your sponsoring, every aspect of your business. So go challenge yourself and say, what can I do a little bit better? What can my team do a little bit better to help take my Facebook group to the next level?